Bai Zun stared at the ID card for a while, as if pondering whether this ID card was real or fake. But a 20-year-old young man whose strength was beyond force transform and also knew alchemy, wasn't this too unbelievable? Even though there were many ancient martial sects in Huaxia that had been passed down for hundreds or even thousands of years, even those ancient and prestigious sects had never heard of such a prodigy emerging. Fang Jueyu, this name sounds quite familiar, doesn't it? While they maintained some traditional customs, the place where they lived was not completely isolated from the world. The Bai family's estate also had internet access, and their younger generation went to school in the city. In this age of information, some things could be known without leaving the house. So it's him. Bai Zun knew that this Fang Jueyu was a very wealthy and extremely high-profile young man, but he couldn't imagine that there was so much more beneath the surface. All right, I'm not here to chat and talk about everyday life. Fang Jueyu had already been delayed for a long time. He had agreed with his swordsmanship teacher, Dugu Kyubai, to practice today. I'll quickly finish the alchemy, and then I'll go back. Elder, Bai Zun initially wanted to continue addressing Fang Jueyu as senior, but it seemed inappropriate, so he changed his wording. Mr. Fang, do you really know alchemy? Is alchemy difficult? Fang Jueyu showed a bewildered expression. He had Xiaoyu directly helping him infuse knowledge of the pharmacology of various herbs, and had the knowledge of Yao Chen, the medicine venerable, making him oblivious to how difficult alchemy actually was in this era. Even though I've only been practicing with my teacher for 2.5 days, I can refine these first-grade elixirs with my eyes closed. Fang Jueyu glanced at the herbs placed in the yard. These things lacked a few ingredients to refine a body-tempering pill, but with a stalk of blood ginseng and blood ganoderma, he could refine an elixir called the Red Flame Pill. The Red Flame Pill was a milder fire attribute elixir, specifically used to treat cold injuries, and could completely help Bai Ruhai remove the cold energy anomaly. 2.5 days. Bai Zun revealed a wry smile, while Hu Yin showed a disdainful expression. He had thought this was a true recluse, but it turned out to be merely a boastful young man spouting nonsense. A 20-year-old in force transform was unbelievable but barely acceptable. After all, those big sects had a few transcendent talents who reached force transform around the age of 30, achievable with the accumulation of elixirs. They had just seen Fang Jueyu toss something that looked like an elixir into his mouth. Perhaps there really was an alchemist teacher behind Fang Jueyu. Since Fang Jueyu had such financial strength, it wasn't that impossible to consume elixirs like candy, and reaching force transform at 20 might not be impossible. But alchemy was different. How could it be fast-tracked in 2.5 days? Even in 20 years, it would be quite challenging to barely refine something resembling a medicine liquid. Master Hu, I'm afraid I must trouble you to try again. Bai Zun didn't believe Fang Jueyu had the ability to perform alchemy. What are those expressions of yours? Looking down on me, a personal trainee with 2.5 days of practice. Fang Jueyu felt indignant. My master is not an ordinary person. What you find unbelievable, he sees as standard procedure. I'd like to see just how the master performs alchemy, Hu Yin said sarcastically. Since Fang Jueyu was not an innate master, Hu Yin was naturally not afraid to offend him. Sigh, Bai Zun shook his head. It seemed Hu Yin had no intention of continuing with alchemy, leaving him with no choice but to try every last resort. Mr. Fang, our Bai family mainly deals in medicinal herbs. Whatever you need, just say the word, and I'll have it prepared immediately. No need, these things are enough, Fang Jueyu said, but I do need a tool for alchemy. Yao Chen's teacher was powerful as a divine ability user, capable of mobilizing cosmic source energy to convert into flames, but Fang Jueyu had not reached that level yet and still needed external tools. I'll prepare a medicine tripod for Mr. Fang right away. No need, where's your kitchen? Fang Jueyu suddenly asked out of the blue. Mr. Fang, what do you mean? I don't need a medicine tripod, just get me a rice cooker or a pressure cooker. What? People who heard this were instantly dumbfounded. Using a rice cooker and pressure cooker, this was alchemy. Did they think it was cooking? Was this some kind of joke? Mr. Fang, now is not the time for jokes. My father's health is in a very poor state, and if it drags on, it could be a matter of life and death. I'm not joking, Fang Jueyu said. The key to alchemy is controlling the heat accurately. It needs to be evenly heated, and the timing must be precise. This pressure cooker is much better than any pill furnace. Those high-grade pill furnaces certainly had strong auxiliary effects, but they required cosmic source power to operate. Bai family's medicine tripod was decent, but it honestly didn't help much in alchemy. All right then, Mr. Fang, follow me. Bai Zun also thought he must be crazy to join in Fang Jueyu's tomfoolery. I'll see what you're up to, Hu Yin followed. This will do. Fang Jueyu lit the gas stove, put a pressure cooker on top of it and turned to Hu Yin, saying, "Watch carefully and learn, although you won't be able to." Fang Jueyu picked up a herb and tossed it straight into the pressure cooker. It seemed like a casual action, but the hidden skill wasn't visible to outsiders. With Fang Jueyu's spiritual power aiding in control, the flame's heat enveloped the herb uniformly. The impurities of the herb were gradually burned away by the high heat, eventually becoming a drop of crystal-clear medicine liquid, which floated in the middle of the pressure cooker under Fang Jueyu's control of biological current. He deftly threw in the other herbs one after another. The essence of those herbs was all perfectly extracted, while at the bottom of the pressure cooker there was only a pile of ashy gray powder. Subsequently, various components of medicine liquid gathered, spinning rapidly. Once the medicinal effects were refinedly mixed, a fragrance invigorating the spirit permeated the entire kitchen. He actually knows alchemy. Hu Yin showed an incredibly shocked expression, but saying that it was done using a pressure cooker was hardly believable. Only a first-grade elixir, refining it wasn't that difficult. 20 minutes later, a light red elixir formed, with intricate elixir patterns emerging on its surface. This was the true essence of alchemy, the hardest part to master. Clap, Fang Jueyu turned off the fire. With a distant gentle snap under the pressure cooker, an exquisitely crafted red flame pill fell into his hand. All right, give this to Mr. Bai to take. Fang threw the elixir to Bai Zun. Bai Zun carefully caught the elixir, nervous that he might drop it. He closely examined the elixir, which still held some warmth. Though unsure of its efficacy, he was 90% convinced. Meanwhile, Hu Yin was incredulous beyond recovery. As an alchemist, he couldn't refine elixirs himself, but he could tell that this was indeed a genuine elixir. Using a pressure cooker to actually refine an elixir. Suddenly, Hu Yin started to question whether this might actually be the correct method of alchemy. Hey, you so-called alchemy master, if you want to leave, then leave behind what you're holding. Fang Jueyu noticed Hu Yin, who was planning to slip away. HMPH, even if you're an alchemist, this is the reward promised to me by the Bai family. What's it got to do with you? Hu Yin said defiantly. He came this time solely for this medicine tripod. Otherwise, he wouldn't lower himself to a small family that doesn't even have a force transform expert. If you had really healed old Bai's injuries, that would be different. But you brewed a pot of crap and still dare to ask for a reward. This medicine tripod was left behind by Fang Jueyu's ancestor, so naturally it couldn't fall into the hands of such a worthless fellow. Hu Yin's face turned blue and then purple. If anyone else said what he crafted was garbage, he'd be furious. But compared to someone like Fang Jueyu, who could refine true elixirs, this pot of residue really was no different from crap. Hand it over, Fang Jueyu raised his voice. Or are you saying you want to have a bout with me? HMPH, arrogant. To leave something from my hands, you'll have to show you have the skills. Hu Yin decided to make a run for it rather than engage. The entire Bai family didn't have a force transform expert. With his force transform level 9 strength, he could easily be unbeatable here. Trying to run, Fang Jueyu snorted coldly. He didn't just learn the dragon subduing 18 palms at the Super God Academy. He channeled his biological current. His body suddenly became incredibly light, and he chased after Hu Yin at a speed almost too fast for the naked eye to track. HMPH, just a force transform expert after all. Seeing that Fang Jueyu hadn't caught up, Hu Yin breathed a sigh of relief. An alchemist was someone he couldn't cross, but could he not avoid them? With this medicine tripod, a little research would surely get him to the realm of an alchemist someday, and then they would be on equal footing. Hey, aren't you too slow? While Hu Yin was daydreaming, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him, Fang Jueyu, who had somehow run ahead of him. Move it? Hu Yin punched forward. With the strength of a 9th-level force transform practitioner, he could easily smash a boulder with one punch. For regular dark force practitioners, being hit could be fatal. But Fang Jueyu sidestepped with ease, like a loach slipping past him. Hey, where are you aiming? I'm behind you. Startled, Hu Yin immediately turned to attack again. But Fang Jueyu's movement was incredibly odd. Though Hu Yin could see him, he didn't land a single blow, instead exhausting much of his own inner strength. What kind of technique is this? Wave skimming light steps, have you never seen it? This set of steps, taught by teacher Duan Yu from the Super God Academy, had caused Fang Jueyu considerable trouble to learn. Wave-skimming light steps. Do you think this is a martial arts novel? Hu Yin's hands kept moving, but Fang Jueyu continued to neutralize them effortlessly. You guessed it right, Fang. Jueyu lightly touched the ground with his toe and suddenly leapt high. Let me show you the wind god leg. Like a gust of whirlwind, Fang Jueyu's leg swept towards Hu Yin, leaving no gap. God damn! Faced with such an unstoppable attack, Hu Yin swore unintentionally. After blocking just a dozen kicks, Hu Yin got kicked in the chest by Fang Jueyu and tumbled off a villa roof. Impossible, I'm a 9th-level force-transform martial artist. How can I not defeat a 20-year-old young man? Hu Yin clutched his chest, feeling a powerful inner strength running rampant in his body. Though less in quantity, it was more than 10 times purer than his own. Damn, you got my AJs dirty. These are limited edition Travis Scotts, they're expensive. Fang Jueyu complained while dusting off the dirt from his shoes. Is he truly just a force transform? Watching the scene unfold, members of the Bai family thought of 2 words: freak. At just 20 years old, not only could he easily concoct elixirs, but he also incapacitated a 9th-level force transform expert. What kind of person could cultivate such a mind-boggling genius? Bai Lang, who was just injured by Fang Jueyu, felt fortunate. If Fang Jueyu had used that move on him earlier, it wouldn't just be 2 broken ribs. Though both within martial arts worlds, Jin Yang's series like The Legend of the Condor Heroes paled in comparison to the superior martial arts in Feng Yun's series. The power of the wind god leg surpassed even the dragon subduing 18 palms, though using it also taxed Fang Jueyu more. He casually popped a chi replenishing pill into his mouth and chewed it like a bean. Do you still want to fight? Fang Jueyu asked, as he broke a twig from a nearby flower bed and twirled it lightly. Want to see my new skill, Lonely 9 Swords, which I just learned in 2 hours? You're kidding about 2 hours. Hu Yin felt like crying. Those casual swings actually left deep sword chi marks. Only highly skilled swordsmen could achieve that, and he claimed to have learned it in just 2 hours. Gritting his teeth, Hu Yin placed the black tripod on the ground unwillingly and turned to leave. Who let you leave? Fang Jueyu said coldly. I gave you the tripod. What more do you want? Don't push me into a corner, Hu Yin said. Push you into a corner? You, Fang Jueyu replied. I just wasted a first-grade elixir. Should that loss be charged to you? You, Hu Yin realized Fang Jueyu was extorting him, but trying to fight Fang Jueyu again was hopeless. He took out a checkbook, wrote a number, and handed it to Fang Jueyu. Is this enough? Fang Jueyu glanced at the check, slightly stunned. 7 zeros, $10 million. Was his elixir that valuable? Oh well, I'll take a hit, you can go. Fang Jueyu pretended to feel he'd suffered a loss even though the cost of materials for the chi replenishing pill was only a few $1,000. The key was the alchemy technique. Urguzi, we'll have sausage again tonight. Urguzi poked its head out of Fang Jueyu's hoodie. It must have heard the words sausage. All right, that's that. I should be going too. Could you tell old Bai we'll meet at the park pavilion by the lake in a couple of days? Mr. Fang, wait, Bai Zun called out. What now, Mr. Bai? Fang Jueyu asked as he turned around. This is the payment for Mr. Fang's alchemy work, and we insist you accept it. Bai Zun handed over a check for 100 million. Do I look like I need the money? Fang Jueyu laughed. He helped purely out of his friendship with Bai Ruhai. Bai Zun was momentarily stunned. With Fang Jueyu's assets, he truly didn't lack that 100 million. After all, he once casually donated hundreds of billions of US dollars. But Fang Jueyu's earlier extortion of 10 million from Hu Yin seemed more like something a poor man would do, which left people puzzled. Oh right, take this tripod back. Fang Jueyu returned the black medicine tripod to them. Our ancestors had some connections, I guess this is fate. Mr. Fang, this time it was Bai Yu who stopped him. What now? I'm quite busy, Fang Jueyu said. It's nothing, just wondering if it's true you learned alchemy in 2 days. Bai Yu recalled Fang Jueyu mentioning something about joining a crash course in alchemy. If true, it would be a massive opportunity for the Bai family. Of course, Fang Jueyu suddenly thought of something, smiling softly. Want to learn? I can teach you. You are willing to teach me? Bai Yu's face showed an expression of shock. Whether it was Fang Jueyu's endless martial prowess or his amazing alchemy skills, learning any one of them would be enough to establish oneself in the entire ancient martial world. In the ancient martial world, martial arts were graded from 1 to 9 levels from low to high. Martial arts above the 5th level were considered high level, and those above the 7th level were only possessed by major sects and great families, and could definitely be regarded as treasures of the sect. The highest level martial arts in the Bai family were only 5th level. From the moment Fang Jueyu entered this estate until now, he used a palm technique, a leg technique, and a step technique. The mark of high-level martial arts was whether inner strength could be shaped. From this perspective, every martial art Fang Jueyu used was definitely above the 7th level. From this, if Fang Jueyu didn't have a mentor, it was absolutely impossible. What she didn't know was that these martial arts were the lowest level in the entire Super God Academy, and it was only because Fang Jueyu hadn't become a hidden elementer that he couldn't harness the cosmic source power. If he had power like Gogh, he could learn martial arts like Nine Yang Divine Skill, Kainkun Great Shifting, which exceeded the 9th level, and even those from fantasy worlds or immortal cultivation worlds. Yes, Fang Jueyu nodded, but my stuff is that easy to learn. I will have many demands and restrictions. Think it over. Fang Jueyu tossed over a badge with the Fang family's totem. If you've made up your mind, bring this to Antian Peak tomorrow to find me. After speaking, Fang Jueyu leaped out of the Bai family's courtyard and disappeared into the distance. Damn, this place is over 200 kilometers from Jiangnan City. Fang Jueyu realized after running a few steps that they had come by car. If he ran back on foot, he'd be exhausted to death. He was Gogh. Make sure to think it through before trying to look cool next time. Fang Jueyu shouted, Gogh, take me back. Holding the badge given by Fang Jueyu, Bai Yu was dazed for a long time, pondering what demands and restrictions Fang Jueyu might have, and whether. Xiaoyu, let me see what you're holding. Bai Zun suddenly noticed something unusual, a very familiar rune on the badge. Bai Yu handed over the badge. This is the totem left by the ancestor. Bai Zun's breathing became heavy, as if he had seen something incredibly astonishing. Dad, do you recognize this? Bai Yu asked. No, I've never seen this badge, but I have seen the symbol on it, Bai Zun said. Every successor of our Bai family's clan leader is informed about something when they take over. Is it related to this symbol? Bai Yu quickly grasped the key point. Exactly, Bai Zun nodded. You should know that our Bai family's ancestor was an alchemist, but do you know that the medicine liquid and pills he concocted surpassed the effects of those made by the 3 alchemy masters today? It was well known that the efficacy of pills was far greater than that of medicine liquid and pills. If something against common sense occurred, it was entirely due to differences in alchemy techniques and expertise. That's because our ancestor was once guided by a high master, Bai Zun said. That master only instructed him for 2 months, but the knowledge he learned in those 2 months can't be comprehended by today's alchemists in a century. So what's the connection with this symbol? Bai Yu asked. The ancestor left a commandment that the master and his attendants all wore clothes embroidered with this symbol, and that any Bai family member seeing this symbol must show the highest respect. Dad, are you saying that Fang Jueyu is likely related to this master? Bai Yu showed a surprised expression. Exactly, it's even possible he is a descendant of the ancestral benefactor, Bai Zun said. The ancestor said that his teacher was not only exceptional in alchemy but also highly skilled in martial arts. Unfortunately, he only managed to learn a bit of alchemy, otherwise our Bai family would be 10-fold, 100-fold stronger now. Xiaoyu, this is an opportunity for our Bai family. If Mr. Fang is truly a descendant of that master, then his martial arts and alchemical skills are not surprising at all. If you can learn from him, you will definitely acquire real skills. But Bai Yu hesitated again when thinking of the demands Fang Jueyu mentioned. Forget it, I won't force you. It's your destiny, think it through. I'll go first and have your grandfather try this pill. Antian Peak, where Fang Jueyu established the Super God Academy, was where Fang Jueyu came directly after finishing his internship at NetEase the next day. Gogh, I won't need you to follow me here in the future. Just guard outside. Yes, young master, Gogh replied with precision. Aren't you curious why I disappear whenever I come here? This is the young master's secret. Gogh doesn't dare to inquire. Ha ha ha, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you when the time is right. Now, although Fang Jueyu had started practicing the potential guidance book, his self-preservation ability was still weak, and he needed Gogh's protection. Once he could roam the earth freely with his own power, Gogh could also train at the Super God Academy. Oh, and Guo Xinyu, but she needs to strengthen her acceptance capacity first. Hey, you're already here. When Fang Jueyu reached the top of the mountain, Bai Yu was already waiting. "Mr. Fang, you didn't tell me exactly when today, so I've been waiting since morning," Bai Yu said. "Ah ha ha ha, I'm sorry I forgot," Fang Jueyu said awkwardly, "but since you're here, it shows you've thought through what I told you yesterday." "Yes, Mr. Fang," Bai Yu replied. "Good, from now on, you're a student of the Super God Academy. Everything you see here you cannot tell anyone, and everything you learn you cannot teach anyone," Fang Jueyu emphasized. "And from now on I am your faith." Super God Academy. Bai Yu whispered the somewhat adolescent-sounding name. "Hold the badge I gave you, and sincerely repeat the words I just said in your heart." Bai Yu, though puzzled, complied. She recited Fang Juyu's words silently in her heart, and instantly a golden light burst from the badge. "Okay, put your hand on that stone." Bai Yu followed instructions. When her palm touched the giant stone engraved with the words Super God Academy, a light screen appeared before her eyes, a scene so miraculous it made her shiver. "Welcome to the War Academy. Let me reintroduce myself. I am the Dean of the Super God Academy, Fang Jueyu. From today, you are the first student of the Super God Academy." Bai Yu followed in the footsteps of Fang Jueyu into the unknown gates, and from this moment on, the fate and future of Bai Yu and the entire Bai family were completely changed. Bai Yu was left speechless by the magnificence of the Super God Academy before her. What kind of earth-shattering techniques could create such a school? Bai Yu had heard a legend, saying that above the innate were the heavenly human realm, the divinity transformation realm, and beyond that, the saint realm. Experts of the saint realm could even ascend to immortality, easily creating small worlds. This kind of technique before her seemed like something only a saint could create. "Mr. Fang, is this school really yours?" "Absolutely," Fang Jueyu laughed. "But from today on, you need to change the way you address me. Don't call me Mr. Fang anymore, just call me Dean Fang." Fang Jueyu never expected that the nickname he once jokingly mentioned on Weibo would now become his true identity. "Can I really learn your martial arts and alchemy here?" "That's far from all," Fang Jueyu said. "As long as you want to learn, there's nothing you can't learn here. Martial arts, magic, combat skills, alchemy, even singing, dancing, rap, and basketball. There's someone to teach you, though it won't be me." "Not you? Then who will teach me?" Bai Yu asked in confusion. "Since this is a school, naturally there are teachers to teach you," Fang Jueyu laughed. "My school has many teachers. Since you are the first student, I'll give you a special privilege. You can choose any teacher you want." Fang Jueyu, as the owner of the highest authority in the entire school, could command everything in the school at any time. "All faculty and staff, please gather at the plaza at the entrance of the Super God Academy," Fang Jueyu shouted. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, astonishing auras emerged from the school, especially those teachers who taught martial arts. Each had unfathomable strength. The combat capabilities of the robots here could all reach divine level, even Gogh you couldn't compare. With a dazzling flame, a figure shrouded in multicolored fire landed on the plaza first. Director of the Fighting Energy Department, Xiao Yan, reporting to the Dean. "Hahaha, Xiao Yan, you're as fast as ever." Yao Chen, enveloped in white ghostly cold fire, hadn't arrived yet, but his voice came from afar. Whoosh! A figure with golden yellow hair and muscles all over appeared like a ghost before them. "Hahaha, teacher son, your instant transmission is just so-so," Xiao Yan laughed. "Hee, I accidentally fell asleep just now, so I'm a bit late." Sun Wukong rubbed his finger under his nose. Before long, a large group of teachers had gathered in the plaza, while Bai Yu was left speechless by the dreamlike scene before her. "Here they are, the teachers of the Super God Academy. If you want to learn something, just go to them. Right now, you're the only student in the whole academy. If more people come later, you won't enjoy this perk anymore," Fang Jueyu said. "Dean, is this your first student?" a monk asked. "Yes," Fang Jueyu nodded. "Young lady, what do you want to learn?" The monk, besides handling the gatekeeper duties, also managed student registrations. "Can I learn alchemy and martial arts?" Bai Yu asked cautiously. "Alchemy is no problem. We have many teachers here who can teach you. But if you have no foundation, I suggest you start with herb basics. Teacher Shenang would be the most suitable for you," the monk recommended. Bai Yu wasn't like Fang Jueyu, who had the assistance of a helper. If she wanted to learn alchemy, she would have to start by learning to distinguish herbs, and then she could begin learning alchemy. "I will follow your arrangements," Bai Yu timidly replied. As for martial arts, the monk was a bit troubled, not because it couldn't be taught, but because the classification of martial arts was too vast. Inner strength, fighting energy, true essence power, etc., were all branches of martial arts. Even ninjutsu and illusion technique were under the larger system, making a recommendation difficult. In that case, why don't the teachers show us a skill or two? Fang Jueyu had never seen the academy's teachers in action. Hahaha, let me go first. A teacher with only one arm and a heavy sword on his back stepped forward. One person performing is too boring. Why do I spar with teacher Yang Guo? A black-haired, bearded, tall and burly middle-aged teacher came forward. Who is this? Fang Jueyu didn't recognize who this teacher was. Make some room, make some room. Get ready to fight. Place your bets, place your bets. Quickly a clearing appeared in the school's plaza, and Fang Jueyu was filled with black lines. Aren't these people all robots? How are they so skilled in everything, even eating, drinking, visiting brothels and gambling? They're too advanced. Clang! Yang Guo drew the heavy black iron sword from his back, producing a deafening sound on the ground. He mustered enough inner strength and rushed forward lightly like a swallow. The heavy black iron sword, carrying the power to split the heavens and earth, smashed toward the other teacher. This kind of momentum, even if it were Fang Jueyu, would be taken down in one strike. Teacher Yang Guo, let me show you what is truly superior martial arts. The other teacher's palms gathered in front of the lower abdomen, and the immense inner strength transformed into a visible spherical true qi. 3 points returned to origin qi. 70% relies on hard work. Fang Jueyu instinctively caught the internet joke. Oh crap, this teacher is Xingba. Bang! The heavy sword clashed with Xingba's 3 points returned to origin qi, instantly releasing a visible energy wave. Their strengths were surely above the innate level. This heavy sword is interesting. Take my flame division devouring wave ruler. Xiao Yan, filled with passion, involuntarily joined the free-for-all. Although their strength was lacking, their bodies were made of the same material, so they weren't injured, just a bit embarrassed. Hahaha, sorry, got a little carried away, Xiao Yan said apologetically. Young lady, how do you like my kung fu? Stars had appeared in Bai Yu's eyes. With just a tenth of these teachers' skills, she could completely revitalize the Bai family. A real man drives a Gundam. Teacher Xiao Yan, I challenge you to a fight. Suddenly, among the teachers, a red and white Gundam emerged, unicorn awakening mode. I'm joining too. Sun Wukong's hair returned to black, but he entered another state, freedom extreme intense skill. Count me, Lin Dong, in. 5 fingers of the great heaven imprisonment. Sword control technique. Demacia. Gaia energy cannon, what the heck is that? A demonstration among teachers instantly turned into a grand melee. Fortunately, the school was extremely sturdy, entirely capable of withstanding the aftershocks of a divine ability user-level battle, or else the school would have long been demolished by this group of teachers. Teachers, stop fighting, stop fighting. Bai Yu was about to cry. With so many teachers, how could she choose? Hahaha, take your time choosing, I'm sneaking off. Fang Jueyu secretly called over teacher sword demon Dugu Kyubai, who was shivering in the corner, and they both vanished from the plaza in front of the academy. Phew, this damn internship is finally over. On the last day of 2019, Fang Jueyu finally finished his 2-month internship and successfully obtained his internship certificate from NetEase Company. After completing his internship report, the first thing Fang Jueyu did was eagerly head to the school to report. As he walked into the department head's office, he saw the worried Zhu Shank discussing something with another teacher. Fang Jueyu's hearing was very sharp. They seemed to be discussing the upcoming Student International Cybersecurity Technology Competition. With the development of information technology, information security technology had become a crucial skill, and countries around the world were making significant efforts to cultivate such talent. This cybersecurity technology competition was born specifically to select this kind of talent. The Student International Security Technology Competition was generally organized on a school-by-school basis. Each school would send a team of 4 contestants to compete, focusing on network security techniques, including encoding and decoding, encryption and decryption, information hiding, network programming, malware analysis, penetration testing, binary security, etc. Moreover, the competition format was very exciting. It was not a one-on-one setup, but rather a chaotic battle format where a one-against-many situation could occur. This brutal competition format brought out the potential of every contestant to the fullest. The competition would first take place among Huaxia universities, and in the end, A top team would be selected to represent the Huaxia universities in the Student International Exchange Competition to be held in Singapore next year. The computer science program at Jiangnan University was actually very strong, ranking at the top among national universities, alongside Yanjing's Qingbei University and Yanjing University. The National College Student Security Technology Competition had been held 6 times so far, but they had never won first place. The reason was simple. These 3 schools were so strong that their teams were always besieged first by other schools in every competition. Without a significant skill gap, they were naturally at a disadvantage. However, 2 very famous newcomers in the information security technology field emerged from Qingbei University and Yanjing University. They seemed to have computer-like brains and could calmly counter every attack, even when besieged by multiple schools, eventually defeating them with strong counterattacks. Liu Yiren from Qingbei University and Su Miao from Yanjing University were fiercely pursued by several internet companies after graduation. However, they still retained honorary professor titles at their respective schools to maintain a high level of expertise in their schools' information security technology competitions after graduation. In contrast, while every member of Jiangnan University's team was talented, none were standout stars. While they could easily fend off attacks from several schools against 14 teams, their capabilities were relatively lacking. Jiangnan University did not have god-level figures like Liu Ren and Su Miao. Even in the rare instances when promising talents emerged, they still seemed distinct from these 2. As the department head, Zhu Shank always found the selection of contestants to be a headache. Given this year's situation, Jiangnan University was expected to face an embarrassing situation without any chance of advancing to the global competition due to attacks from all sides in the domestic events. The discussion between the 2 teachers did not yield any results, and it ended in silence. Knock, knock, knock. Fang Jueyu knocked on the door of Zhu Shank's office. "Come in." Fang Jueyu walked in and respectfully placed his internship report and certificate on Zhu Shank's desk. "Well, it looks like my influence still counts for something. At least you didn't end up buying NetEase." Zhu Shank flipped through his report and nodded in satisfaction. Truth be told, Zhu Shank liked Fang Jueyu. During this year's autumn recruitment, many companies Jueyu had connections with recruited a good number of students from Jiangnan University, significantly relieving the employment pressure on students. The school's employment rate was also very impressive. "You should also start preparing your graduation project." Zhu Shank, who happened to be Fang Jueyu's graduation project advisor, added, "Choose your topic carefully and submit your proposal to me within a week." Fang Jueyu was most annoyed by these tasks. "Professor Zhu, aren't graduation preparations supposed to start in the 2nd semester of senior year? Why the rush? Why do you talk so much? Am I your advisor or are you?" Zhu Shank retorted, glaring at him. "Next semester, I'll be leading the team to participate in the information technology competition, so I won't have much time to guide you with your graduation project. You should finish as much as you can this semester." "All right." Faced with Professor Zhu's assertiveness, Fang Jueyu could only nod. Anyway, with Zhao Yi around, these tasks wouldn't take up too much of his energy. At that moment, another student knocked on Zhu Shank's office door. "Come in," Zhu Shank said. "Hm, Liu Kao." Fang Jueyu recognized the student who entered. They were classmates, but Liu Kao's introverted nature meant they didn't interact much. "Hey, old Fang." Liu Kao smiled at Fang Jueyu as a greeting. "Liu Kao, I know you're particularly interested in network security technology and have some insights. How about representing our school in this year's National College Student Information Technology Competition?" Zhu Shank asked directly. Jiangnan University's Computer Science Department had a cybersecurity club, and Liu Kao was the club president, so Zhu Shank understood him somewhat. He had also achieved impressive results in many similar competitions. "But Professor, if I participate in that competition, I won't be able to finish my graduation thesis in time. I need some time to prepare my research." Liu Kao was a bit troubled. Researching other schools' strategies was a time-consuming task. "I've already spoken with your advisor. You can use this competition's rank to replace your thesis. As long as you place in the top 3, your thesis will automatically be rated excellent," Zhu Shank promised. "All right," Liu Kao agreed without hesitation. Although he wasn't confident about securing first place, he was very sure of making it to the top 3. "But Professor, have the other 3 team members been selected yet?" Zhu Shank shook his head. I have contacted 2 members already. They participated last year and have some competition experience, but we're still short of 1 member. We can skip the graduation thesis. Fang Jueyu's eyes gleamed. Professor Zhuo, can I give it a try? Zhu Shank sized up Fang Jueyu. He might have some business acumen, but Zhu Shank really wasn't familiar with his technical skills. Yes, if you let me skip the graduation thesis, I guarantee I'll bring back the championship from this year's international competition. An international competition champion with just you, Zhu Shank laughed. If I'm not mistaken, you're not a member of the Network Security Technology Club. Do you even understand this technology? Mr. Zhu, who says that not joining the club means you can't know this technology? Fang Jueyu replied. I don't have many hobbies, but I do enjoy reading books about network security technology in my spare time. Oh, Zhu Shank became interested. Have you ever participated in this type of competition or won any awards? No, I haven't. Fang Jueyu had never actually read any books on this subject, but with Zhao Yi around, he wasn't afraid. With information technology far ahead of Earth's, losing a small Earth-based competition would be truly shameful. Nonsense, Zhu Shank slammed the table. Such competitions not only require individual and teamwork skills, but also the ability to perform under pressure and solid composure. Without some experience in major competitions, stable performance can't be guaranteed. Mr. Zhuo, please don't get angry, Lu Kao quickly soothed Zhu Shank. Looking at Fang Jueyu's demeanor, he seemed confident. Many international experts also started through self-study and ended up making a name for themselves in competitions. How about letting Fang give it a try? I can find a few club members to play with him, and we'll see if he's got what it takes. All right, but if you're bluffing, I'm giving you the toughest topic for your graduation project, Zhu Shank threatened. The Network Security Club was located in a classroom of the Information Academy. Thanks to the achievements of previous chairmen, the place had all the necessary equipment, well equipped indeed. The club didn't have many members, only about 20, but each one was a talent, excelling in attack, defense, and support. Even though they hadn't graduated, many had already been signed by companies with high salaries. Wang Kai, I'll open a gap in their defenses for you to slip through. Can you hold it? Give me another 20 seconds and I'll tear a hole in their defenses. Got it, I slipped through, but why are you guys already struggling? Inside the club's classroom, members were passionately engaged in simulation practice. It seemed like there was an upcoming city exchange match in Jiangnan City, for which they were preparing. Everyone stopped for a moment. Lu Kao clapped his hands. All the members instantly quieted down. Lu Kao held high authority in the club and was also the only individual from Jiangnan University to rank in the top 5 of the Huaxia University student capability list. Chairman, why are you here? The members gathered around. While the department head and Dean Fang, why are you here? The team members began to get excited again. Chairman, did you get funding from Dean Fang to improve our environment? That'd be awesome. Dean Fang's budget would surely get us top-of-the-line equipment. The team members started bantering. Enough, cut the chatter, Lu Kao said sternly. I'm here for business. Fang Jueyu wants to represent our university in the National University Cybersecurity Technology Competition. What, Dean Fang knows this stuff? Tusk, a big shot indeed, knows everything. Who's willing to spar with him? Lu Kao asked. No need. Even if I win one-on-one, it wouldn't show my true strength. Fang Jueyu flexed his fingers. All of you should come at me together. What? All the members were dumbfounded. This competition was a team event with everyone having a role. One person handling both offense and defense simultaneously against 20 people seemed impossible. Even Liu Yiren and Su Miao from the individual capability list wouldn't boast like this. Dean, that's quite a boast. Our skills may not be top-notch, but we're considered elite. Soloing 20 people is impossible, even for the world's #1. Indeed, this competition isn't just about money. Haha, if you dare say that, be careful Dean doesn't send you to a mental institution. In front of Fang Jueyu, the members couldn't say anything too harsh, but their expressions and words made it clear they didn't believe him, perhaps even felt disdain. Did he really understand network security technology? Is it true? You'll find out if you try, right? Fang Jueyu casually found a computer and sat down. By the way, what are your rules? Lu Kao's expression froze for a moment. Did he not even know the rules? Was he here for a joke? Since Dean Fang is so confident, let them play with him. Liu Kao's relationship with Fang Jueyu wasn't great, and he was getting dissatisfied with Fang's dismissive attitude. Some of these members were trained by him, and if Fang Jueyu thought he could handle them alone, it was a direct implication of his mediocre skills. Seeing Liu Kao's serious look, the members ceased their idle talk, found computers, and logged into the battle system. The rules are simple: 10 nodes. The first to break through the other side's last node wins. Everyone understands. Everyone nodded, with Fang Jueyu on the red side and the 20 others on the blue side. All right, let the competition begin. With Liu Kao's command, the room suddenly filled with the clattering of keyboards. Haha, youngsters sure are energetic, Zhu Shank chuckled, sitting down to watch the big screen showing the competition between the two sides. But just as he sat down, 2 nodes on the blue side went dark, indicating that Fang Jueyu had broken through them. How is this possible? Liu Kao and Zhu Shank exhibited expressions of disbelief. Fang Jueyu was alone, and with 20 people defending the nodes, their defense was almost impenetrable. Yet, within less than a minute, 2 nodes were breached. What kind of bizarre maneuver was this? However, the blue side was quite adept. Your attack is strong. Surely your defense couldn't be this absurd with most of your effort on offense. You want to encircle me? Fang Jueyu smiled slightly. His fingers, trained from playing the piano, flew over the keyboard with blinding speed, leaving shadows in their wake. Moments later, the members attacking Fang Jueyu's nodes were dumbfounded. No matter how tight the defense, there should at least be a weak spot for an attack, right? Yet they were up against what felt like a solid iron door, unable to find any openings at all. In that moment of hesitation, the blue side lost 3 more nodes. A minute later, 2 more nodes were breached. 3 minutes in, they were down to their last node. Everyone, abandon defense, concentrate all attacks on one of his nodes. They understood the gap between their skills was vast. While they couldn't defend against Fang Jueyu's composed breaches, losing with a clean slate was unacceptable. Trying for a last-ditch exchange, Fang Jueyu chuckled as 20 attackers managed to reveal a slight weakness in one of his nodes. Letting you in, so what? We broke through. The blue team's players showed a hint of joy, but before they could capture the node, they found themselves caught in a trap. Damn, it's a trap. But by then it was too late. Fang Jueyu had effortlessly broken through their last node, and the blue team's interface turned gray. Incredible, just incredible. Zhu Shank was so excited he almost fell off his chair. He had seen one person taking on 3 or even 5 opponents, but taking on 20 by himself was unheard of. What kind of speed and skills did it take to achieve such feats? As for Liu Kao, he was completely awestruck. Other than surprise, there were no words to describe what he was feeling. He was sure that neither Liu Yiren nor Su Miao could match this level of operation. Even on an international stage, this was an unbeatable presence. With his addition, this time we definitely have a chance to fight our way to the World Championships and bring back the trophy. Liu Kao clenched his fist. Up until now, Huaxia's team had never even made it to the top 3 in international events, with the best result being only 4th place. So strong, I admit it this time. The club members now acknowledged that Fang Jueyu indeed had the credentials to make such claims. Dean, you're not pulling our leg, are you? You're not some online master playing dumb to trick us, right? Yeah, Dean, are you Kai or Jock? Kai and Jock were 2 legendary figures in Huaxia's network information security scene. They had anonymously participated in many international competitions, securing top positions. However, they had never revealed their identities or accepted any invitations from organizations or individuals. Of course, many people wanted to dig up their personal information, but no one could ever breach any of their devices, while many of their own devices were crushed under a strong counterattack. Thus, these 2 had practically become legends in the realm of network information technology in Huaxia. Judging from Fang Jueyu's skills, it seemed only those 2 could reach such a level. Stop guessing. I've never participated in such a competition before. This is just the first time, Fang Jueyu said candidly. No way, Dean. How many years have you been studying? Yeah, do you have some amazing teacher behind the scenes? All right, stop asking questions. We have more important matters to discuss now, so keep training. Liu Kao waved his hand. Come to my office, and we'll discuss things slowly. Zhu Shank's voice carried a hint of barely contained excitement. Understandably, if they could stand out in international competitions this time, it would not only represent the honor of the school, but also break the void of Huaxia University students in international events. In response to Zhu Shank's notification, the other two team members hurried over. They had heard that they found a powerful teammate and couldn't wait to see for themselves. Fang Jueyu, Lukeo, let me introduce you to the other two team members for this competition, Chen Feng and Zai Yuzhai. They're experienced players from our school. Zhu Shank introduced them. Hello? Chen Feng and Zai Yuzhai were fourth-year computer science students, though their specializations were different, so they didn't really know each other. Lukeo was a well-known expert among Huaxia University students, and his participation was no surprise to them at all. But they didn't expect that the other would be the recently famous Fang Jueyu. Wasn't he a mega-rich tycoon? How did he suddenly jump into network information security competitions? Suddenly, they thought of a funny idea. Ever since property prices skyrocketed in Jiangnan City, some households that were relocated overnight became multimillionaires. Those who lost their aims and goals ended up working as cleaners, idly going about their days. The reason was simple. They just wanted to find something to do so they wouldn't be overwhelmed by their wealth. Could it be that Fang Jueyu also made so much money that spending it no longer satisfied his daily spiritual needs, and he was so bored he started a side hustle? Fang Jueyu, when did you start a side hustle? The two joked. Well, it's just to avoid doing my graduation thesis. Fang Jueyu openly stated his purpose. Professor Zhu said that as long as I participate and get into the top 3 of the national competition, it can count towards my thesis score, so I just came to mess around. Lu Keo's face darkened. Messing around? Your version of messing around is going to end up taking the world championship, isn't it? Don't listen to his nonsense. Lu Keo exposed him directly. This guy's skills are so terrifying they make your scalp tingle. What, you've competed against each other? The two asked. I wouldn't dare disgrace myself in such a way. Initially, Lu Keo intended to test Fang Jueyu's level, but seeing what he did, he was glad he didn't. Otherwise, he'd be humiliated. You didn't see it, this guy single-handedly took on 20 of our club experts. Not a single node was lost within 10 minutes, and he leisurely captured 10 of their nodes. If I hadn't witnessed it myself, I would never have believed someone like that existed, Lu Keo said. 1 versus 20. You aren't pulling our leg, are you? Chen Feng and Zai Yuzhai couldn't believe it. Facing that many attacks while also counterattacking, even if Fang Jueyu's hands were as numerous as an octopus's tentacles, it wouldn't be enough. If I'm lying, I'll eat this table, Lu Keo wagered. Come on, who doesn't know you, President Lu, always swindling food and drink. In the last city competition, you said you'd eat trash if you didn't place first, did you? Lu Keo blushed but persisted. This time I'm serious, Professor Zhu saw it too. If he hadn't personally witnessed Fang Jueyu's strength, how could he trust him to participate with us? That's true, the two nodded, knowing Zhu Shank was notorious for his caution. Professor Zhu, you meant what you said, right? Fang Jueyu asked once more. Nope, I need to change it, Zhu Shank replied. You have to win the first place in the national student competition and advance to the world championships. All right, no problem, piece of cake. Fang Jueyu didn't even bat an eye at a national first place, feeling confident that even in world competitions, he could leave foreign experts agape. You all discuss your roles first, Zhu Shank said. All right, given that, Fang, you know this competition is a battle royale. Based on previous instances, they'll definitely team up to take down high-level schools like ours first, so you're in charge of defending the nodes while we three look for chances to attack, okay? Unnecessary, too troublesome, Fang Jueyu interjected. You guys just need to do one thing. What's that? The three asked in unison. Once at the arena, recline your chairs, adjust to the most comfortable position, and just wait for the win. The three were at a loss for words. Even before the competition had started, Fang Jueyu was already making boastful remarks. But combining Fang Jueyu's terrifyingly impressive skills, Lu Keo couldn't argue with such remarks. Perhaps, relying solely on Fang Jueyu, they might actually snag this championship. The National Collegiate Cybersecurity Competition would officially start in March 2020 and last for half a month, while the world competition wouldn't begin until mid-April, so they had plenty of preparation time. According to Lu Keo and the others' plan, these months should have been used to intensify training and study other teams' tactics, but Fang Jueyu had no such intention. He just wanted to enjoy his time at home blissfully. Having completed his graduation internship, Fang Jueyu returned to a leisurely state. As the new year approached, Guo Xinyu had also wrapped up most of her work at the studio, and the two resumed their shameless and carefree life. Deep into the night, after their usual intimate activities, Guo Xinyu fell into a deep sleep, while Fang Jueyu began practicing the potential guiding technique as usual once she was asleep. He had been learning the potential guiding technique for 4 months now, and the intensity of the biological current in his body had improved rapidly. If measured by ancient martial arts standards, he would be comparable to a master of external energy. At Super God Academy, he learned many martial arts techniques from different systems, such as Dugu Kyubai's Lonely Nine Swords, Wu Ming's All Swords Return to the Root, Wyazi's Beiming Divine Skill, and Little Faceless Skill, among others. With his current comprehensive strength, he could even fight an SSS-level superpower user to a draw. As long as it wasn't an innate master, he feared nothing. As for the hidden elementers, almost all of them belonged to his family in this world. Suddenly, a burning aura emanated from the surroundings. Fang Jueyu actually felt a powerful biological current equivalent to a practitioner of dark energy surging beside him. What's going on? He opened his eyes and found that the power was coming from Guo Xinyu. But Guo Xinyu hadn't studied the potential guiding technique. Where did she get such powerful biological current? Host, have you forgotten the content of the ancient book I taught you last time? Xiaoyi asked. Is it because of that thing? Ever since Fang Jueyu started learning the potential guiding technique, Xiaoyi had been teaching him the contents of that ancient book. However, after learning it, Fang Jueyu didn't feel any changes in his body, and Xiaoyi wouldn't tell him either. To tell you the truth, that book is a very special cultivation technique, Xiaoyi explained. Your level will also transmit a portion to her, and it will even return to you as purer biological current. Damn it, I suspected it was something this lewd. Fang Jueyu had already guessed it somewhat and couldn't believe it was true. Then why is she in this state now? Fang Jueyu noticed that Guo Xinyu's physical condition seemed not quite right, with tiny beads of sweat forming on her forehead and her body temperature somewhat raised. That's because she hasn't practiced the potential guiding technique or any internal martial arts. Her body's biological current exceeded the threshold it can bear, so issues naturally arise. What should I do then? Fang Jueyu felt a bit at a loss. It's a small problem. Use your biological current to calm the power in her body, but in the future the mistress must start practicing too. Otherwise, the power in her body will grow unchecked, which will cause issues, Xiaoyi reminded him. I got it. Fang Jueyu gently placed his hand on Guo Xinyu's back, and a gentle biological current flowed into her body, helping her sort out the somewhat chaotic biological current inside. Sure enough, after a moment, Guo Xinyu's body temperature gradually returned to normal, and the biological current in her body became incredibly calm. It seems I should let Xinyu join the Super God Academy for a bit, Fang Jueyu pondered, and let's bring Junyu along too. Since they were his closest family members, Fang Jueyu certainly wouldn't be stingy. Of course, this was under the premise that they could handle it mentally. In the morning, Guo Xinyu opened her eyes to discover Fang Jueyu already awake, quietly watching her. Don't look at me. I haven't put on makeup yet. I don't look good. Guo Xinyu buried her head in the blanket. It seemed like every girl had the habit of disliking their partner seeing them barefaced. Xinyu, haven't you noticed your skin is getting better and better? Fang Jueyu smiled as he pulled away the blanket covering her face. That sentence really hit the mark. Starting 2 or 3 months ago, Guo Xinyu found that her physical condition seemed to be getting better and better. She never felt sleepy during work in the daytime, even if she had stayed up late because of work. There were no dark circles the next morning, and her skin became increasingly smooth and elastic. But her changes seemed a bit excessive. Xinyu, I have something very serious and important to tell you. Fang Jueyu sat up, speaking in a very serious tone. Okay, go ahead. Guo Xinyu listened seriously. Actually, I'm not an ordinary person. I know that. Guo Xinyu's expression didn't change at all. I don't mean being rich, Fang Jueyu said with a wry smile. What I mean is, I'm not an ordinary human. Guo Xinyu burst out laughing, thinking Fang Jueyu was going to share some secret with her. I'm not joking, Fang Jueyu said earnestly. Watch. Fang Jueyu focused his gaze on the lamp on the bedside table, and an invisible but powerful spiritual power instantly enveloped it, causing the lamp to float off the table, as if haunted. Guo Xinyu wasn't a particularly brave girl, so seeing this, she instinctively covered her mouth to prevent herself from screaming, yet her eyes unmistakably revealed everything. Now do you believe me? Fang Jueyu moved the lamp back to its original place, looking at her with a smirk. How did you do that? Gogh Xinyu was astonished. Well, to put it simply, you can think of me as a superpower user or a martial arts master, he explained mysteriously. Despite her doubts, Gogh Xinyu tried to feel her body, and sure enough, there was a warm current in her lower abdomen that she had never felt before. Fang Jueyu whispered something in Gogh Xinyu's ear, and her face instantly turned red. It turned out she had gained this power through such an embarrassing means. Actually, I wasn't planning to tell you yet, but now the power in your body is already quite strong, so you have to learn to control it, or it could possibly harm your body, Fang Jueyu explained. So what should I do? Here's the plan. During winter break, bring Junyu over, and I'll take you both to a place where you'll understand everything. Sis, brother-in-law, where are we going? Asked Gogh Junyu as he drove, chattering incessantly along the way. In Gogh Junyu's mind, Fang Jueyu had always been a very mysterious and impressive person, and he had long considered Fang Jueyu his idol. Don't you want to be an astronaut in the future? Fang Jueyu said with a smile. I'm taking you to a place where your dreams can come true. Really? Gogh Junyu became even more excited. Exploring the mysterious universe and uncovering its endless secrets had always been his biggest dream. All right, your brother-in-law wouldn't lie to you, Gogh Xinyu said, patting Gogh Junyu's head. Initially, she was skeptical of many things Fang Jueyu said, but after he demonstrated some of his abilities, Gogh Xinyu had no choice but to believe that Fang Jueyu really did have many secrets. The car stopped at the foot of Antyan Peak. Bai didn't seem to be at the Super God Academy today, as her Maserati was usually parked here. After 2 months of study at the Super God Academy, Bai's skills had advanced dramatically, although she was far from matching Fang Jueyu, but her level had reached the hidden force peak. After her brain region was developed, her memory and comprehension had greatly improved. She had already learned part of Shennong's pharmacology course and recently began studying the basics of alchemy with an unknown junior alchemist. It was estimated that in a few months, she might achieve something substantial. Here, hold this badge in your palm, and silently swear that you will never reveal anything here to outsiders and that you will always promise absolute loyalty to me. Fang Jueyu handed them 2 school badges. Although somewhat puzzled, one was Fang Jueyu's girlfriend and the other was his fanboy, so they made the vow without much hesitation. The badges bonded with them, leaving a special mark in their palms. All right, follow me. Fang Jueyu opened the light curtain leading to the school and walked in first. Gogh Xinyu and Gogh Junyu exchanged a glance and followed suit, stepping into the curtain filled with the unknown. Wow, Gogh Junyu exclaimed in amazement at the wondrous world before him, and even Gogh Xinyu was a bit stunned. Welcome to the Super God Academy. From now on, you are also members of the Super God Academy, announced Fang Jueyu. Dean, you've brought new students again, said the monk sweeping the floor, appearing as mysteriously as ever. Yes, master, this is my girlfriend Gogh Xinyu, and this is her brother Gogh Junyu. Please register them. What skills would the 2 of you like to learn here? Asked the monk. For Xinyu, aside from the basic potential activation courses, find her some art teachers. As for Xiaoyu, he wants to be an astronaut. Are there any suitable courses for him? I understand, Dean. Let me think about it, said the monk. Moments later, circles of light appeared on the plaza. Although all the robots were of the same model, to fit reality, not every teacher had the ability to move through space, so the Super God Academy's own teleportation feature was needed for mobility. A group of people walked out from the rings of light: Deng Lijun, Pavarotti, Beethoven, Chopin, Haydn. There were vocal teachers, as well as instrument and dance teachers. Student Gogh Xinyu, you can choose a teacher here to learn their skills, the monk said with a smile. Only kids make choices. I picked them all for Gogh Xinyu. Fang Jueyu made the choice for her. Dean, that's against the rules, exclaimed the monk. While there were many teachers, the teaching resources were limited, and if each student picked so many teachers, chaos would ensue when more students joined. What's against the rules? I'm the dean and I'm in charge. Besides, Xinyu is the dean's wife. Doesn't she get special privileges? Fang Jueyu replied with satisfaction. But what? Do you still want to work here? Fang Jueyu adopted his dean's stance immediately. The robots here required energy supply, and Fang Jueyu controlled everything in the academy, including the power to turn on each robot. Although the monk's level could easily overpower Fang Jueyu, it didn't dare to. Fang Jueyu could cut off its energy supply with a single thought. Yes, yes, everything is up to the dean, the monk relented. Though it was a robot, this advanced robot still possessed human emotions. That's better, Fang Jueyu nodded in satisfaction. As for Junyu, Fang Jueyu pondered for a moment, we can't neglect cultural knowledge, language, math, science, each with the best teacher. Start him on courses like astrophysics and aircraft structure, too. Wait a minute, Fang Jueyu suddenly remembered something. With this super god academy, who needs manned rockets and spacecraft to become an astronaut, there are better aircraft available as long as Gogh Junyu's reaction time and handling skills keep up. Master, bring me teachers Kira, Amuro, Chana, and Banerjee, ordered Fang Jueyu. Xiaoyu, didn't you say you wanted to be an astronaut and play in space? Want to pilot a Gundam? Just as he spoke, 4 incredibly cool Gundams descended from the sky. There's Gundam 00, RX-78, Strike Freedom, and Unicorn. Gogh Junyu recognized the robots at a glance. Yes, of course I do. Gogh Junyu nodded eagerly like a pecking chick. Brother-in-law, can you build me a Gundam? Gogh Junyu looked at him with hopeful eyes, as if Fang Jueyu was some all-powerful superhero in his eyes. Build one yourself, Fang Jueyu retorted, unimpressed. For things like spaceships, he could just buy them, but even with money, Gundams couldn't be bought in this era. Master, find some machinery and weapon manufacturing teachers for this brat to study with. No way, brother-in-law. Gogh Junyu looked distraught. Learning cultural knowledge was hard enough. Mastering driving skills wasn't something that could be done in a couple of months, and learning enough to build a Gundam required an overwhelming amount of study. He was only in his teens and couldn't have his childhood completely consumed by it. When you're piloting a Gundam around the world, you'll thank me. Fang Jueyu left a dashing silhouette before disappearing into the circle of light. In a few months, Ma Teng's game empire plan had already been put into action. With Xiaoya's assistance, Fang Jueyu built the entire server in just 2 weeks. Under the crazy overtime hours of all the employees at Tengsun Company, they finally finished creating this game a month before the Lunar New Year. Because they really didn't know what kind of market impact this game could cause, they only produced 100,000 units of the gaming equipment for the first batch. For a long time, the internet was flooded with Tengsun's advertisements, but the results were not promising. The reason was simple. Any technology surpassing its time initially elicited a chorus of skepticism. 80% sensory experience, even including touch and pain. How was this possible? Even those advanced countries at the forefront of technology couldn't achieve this, right? The human sensory system is an extremely complex synergy. How could just a helmet create a game world comparable to the real world in a virtual space? It was easier said than done. Not only that, Tengsun invested a lot of manpower and resources into this process, seemingly like burning their bridges. If this game failed, Tengsun would undoubtedly suffer a significant injury. The investment and effort would all be in vain. For a while, Tengsun's stock fell wildly, and the company's market value evaporated by hundreds of millions of US dollars in just a few weeks. But Fang Jueyu and Ma Teng were full of confidence. The stock falling was normal because no one believed they could pull off such a game. Many so-called experts even tried various channels to debunk it. Tengsun became labeled as a scam company. How could a small internet company achieve what an entire nation couldn't? Wasn't this insulting players' intelligence? However, facing this situation, Fang Jueyu and Ma Teng were grinning ear to ear. Taking advantage of this opportunity, they gobbled up a large portion of shares on the market. Combined, their total shares almost exceeded 95%. Finally, the day of the official game launch arrived. For this release event, Tengsun selected 100 volunteers from all over the country, and even some from other parts of the world for a live experience. These volunteers were randomly chosen, a mix of people from Huaxia, other Asian countries, Europe, and the Americas. Their only common trait was that they were all hardcore VR gaming players. Naturally, they were bewildered when invited. 80% realism, how could this be? As hardcore players, they knew just how challenging this was. Of course, they hoped someday such a game would appear, but that was like a dream, impossible to achieve in the short term. But Tengsun was saying they had created such a game, even inviting them to experience it. Some came with excitement and anticipation, others with doubt and ridicule. Every experiencer had different thoughts, but attracted by Tengsun's generous remuneration, they all came to the pre-release event. The release event was broadcasted live over the internet, with 100 pieces of equipment prepared for the live broadcast. In the center, there was a huge screen displaying everything happening in the game. The broadcast was set to start at 7:30, but by 7:00, the live stream room was packed with viewers. Many were not there for the game, but to see the spectacle. Can someone experienced weigh in? How credible is this 80% realism? This is nonsense. Visual experiences can certainly reach high levels of realism, but to create touch, pain, and other senses, it's not just something technology alone can achieve. Agreed with the previous commenter, waiting to see Tengsun make a fool of themselves. I bet those attending the experience are all shills. At Ma Teng, pay me and I'll play a shill for you too. No, no, no. I heard that even Dean Fang joined this project. Don't forget that person is extraordinarily wealthy. What good is money? Can money buy technology? Have him buy me a lightspeed spaceship to see if that works. This is a limitation of current technology, no blind optimism. Mr. Ma, what do you think these people's reactions will be later? Fang Jueyu and Ma Teng sat cozily drinking coffee in a room not far from the broadcast room. I don't know, but it'll definitely be spectacular. Having experienced it himself, Ma Teng had no doubts about this game. Anyone who tried it would be captivated instantly, and he was no exception. Have you considered that even if this live broadcast conquers all the experiencers, they might still be accused of being shills? Fang Jueyu asked. Ha 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 ha, don't worry about that. I've already thought of a way to solve it. Ma Teng pointed to a small device next to each piece of equipment. Do you know what that is? What is it? Fang Jueyu had never seen these things before. This device measures human pain and quantifies it into levels. I got someone to take it from a hospital, Ma Teng explained. It also tests body temperature, heart rate, and various indicators. The reactions from these devices will prove many things. Impressive, Fang Jueyu gave a thumbs up. In some aspects, he really couldn't compare to Ma Teng. The time finally arrived at 7:30, and a beautiful hostess walked to the center of the studio. She began introducing the game, but given all the overwhelming publicity, this introduction seemed entirely unnecessary. Today, we have created a mini battle map, the hostess said to the big screen, where a complex terrain of a desert battlefield already appeared. 100 experiencers will engage in a free-for-all on this battlefield. While negative senses like pain and temperature are reduced to 10%, the realism of everything else is around 80%. The audience can totally use on-site instruments to verify the truth of the game's claims. Impressive, Tengsun seems to have thought this through well. Using instruments makes it way more reliable than relying on an experiencer's words. They're really confident. Could they actually have created such a VR game? No way, must be just a hype thing, right? If they really pulled this off, the gaming world would be turned upside down. This extends beyond just gaming. 100 volunteers, feeling both nervous and excited, stepped into the experience area. Under the guidance of the staff, they all put on those technology-infused helmets, waiting for the game to start. All 100 volunteers are ready, the staff reported. Start the game. As the equipment powered on simultaneously, all the volunteers' visions went dark. When it lit up again, what appeared before them was a desert landscape almost exactly like the one on the projection. Sind was a game enthusiast from North America and a professional player of shooting games. Although he was retired, he had dabbled in all sorts of popular shooting games on the market, including VR types. But those VR games were completely different. Their equipment was merely a visor and a gun model. As for the simulated effects, they were quite laughable. Whether it was the gun's recoil, accuracy, or other attributes, they were beyond description, crude and dull. However, when he stepped into this game map, he immediately felt something extraordinary. First, the unique dryness and heat of the desert directly caused his body temperature to change noticeably. He stomped on the ground, and the hard sensation was completely different from before. If he remembered correctly, his feet were previously fixed to a seat, making it impossible to move. This indicated that the sensation was not coming from his own body but was simulated through other means. Look quickly, their body temperatures are all starting to rise. Someone at the scene noticed the readings on the instruments. And their heart rates, they're all increasing. It's unbelievable. Did they really get transported to a desert? Language could deceive, but the instrument data could not lie. There are weapons here. Sind found a small supply camp behind him, containing rifles, pistols, shotguns, sniper rifles, and grenades. He grabbed a rifle. the metallic texture and solid weight in his hand making his eyes slightly change. In his spare time, he was also a member of a shooting club. He had experienced these types of guns at the club. The weight and feel were almost identical. Is this really just a virtual world? Sind asked himself. Gradually, everyone recovered from familiarizing themselves with their bodies. They had not undergone any prior training or attempts. The realistic experience even made them wonder if they would truly die if hit by a bullet. The camps on both sides were only a few hundred meters apart. Sind, using the terrain, slowly approached the enemy's camp alone. Suddenly, he saw an enemy member cautiously approaching their direction. Sind took down the sniper rifle from his back, aimed at the opponent, and gently pulled the trigger. Bang! The immense recoil slammed against his shoulder. At nearly the same instant, the enemy's chest erupted in a burst, although the blood seemed to have been harmoniously altered by the game system. 6666, great marksmanship. Scrolls of bullet comments appeared on the interface. Attentive individuals noticed that the pain sensor connected to the person who was hit displayed the number 20 at that moment. This number's pain was equivalent to a jab from a syringe, an effect caused by the pain being reduced by 90% after being shot in the chest. The eliminated person suddenly opened his eyes. The pain experienced in the game vanished instantly upon exiting, everything seemingly like a dream. Apart from a slightly elevated heart rate, other physical indicators were normal. It seems we already have one experiencer finished with their session. Let's interview their thoughts. The female host walked over to the young men who still looked shocked. Could you please share your evaluation of this game experience? The young man seemed not yet fully recovered from the experience. He touched his chest as if checking whether the bullet had truly penetrated his chest, yet his body was completely fine. It's incredible. Those few short words thoroughly conveyed the shock the game brought him. He initially came with the mindset of just watching, but had he not truly experienced it firsthand, he would never believe everything just experienced was real. Soon, experiencers were eliminated one after another, their expressions almost identical. Most importantly, the data displayed on those instruments fully reflected their real situations in the game. More and more people joined the live stream, some of whom were eager to try this amazing game. However, some still maintained a suspicious attitude. After all, those instruments were merely tools created by humans, and tools could be manipulated. But at this moment, Tencent dropped another bombshell. Starting tomorrow, Tencent would set up free experience points in major cities nationwide, allowing anyone to participate in the experience. In one night, word spread like radiation, reaching one person, 10 people, then hundreds. Even before the next day, people already started lining up at the experience stores. Everything was as magical as Tencent claimed, and the experts' comments and doubts only served as an explosive advertisement. The price of game equipment wasn't cheap. The standard version offered a 70% sensory experience, priced at $5,999. The enhanced version had an 80% sensory experience, priced at $6,999. But in reality, the price of the equipment was merely comparable to a computer with slightly higher specifications. Moreover, Tencent would release more games in the future, and one could even experience them without changing equipment. Of course, to earn more money, Mateng naturally invested significant effort in the recharge system, making players willingly spend their money. In less than a day, all 100,000 units of game equipment sold out. To meet market demand, all factories began working around-the-clock shifts. What did the birth of this VR game represent? It signified that the gaming industry had entered a new era. With a game like this in the world, who would play anything else? After learning about this, major gaming companies immediately gathered their technical divisions and posed a question: how long would it take to create a game like this? But the answers were almost identical. Such technology couldn't appear for another 10 years. In 10 years in game competition, those companies would have long been defeated. In 10 years, Tencent would have long stood at the pinnacle of the gaming industry, and they could even apply this technology to other areas of the internet. Tencent's rise was unstoppable. What was going on? What exactly was happening? Where did they get their technology? A technology 10 years ahead of the era. Was it given by aliens? The whole internet industry turned into a cacophony of wailing overnight. On the third day, Tencent's market value doubled. On the fifth day, the total market value exceeded $500 billion. By the 10th day, it reached $600 billion and launched a fierce offensive against Microsoft. Ha ha ha! During these few days, Ma Teng's smile never left his face. Although his shareholding had significantly reduced, the value represented by his stocks had multiplied several times in just a few days. Most importantly, he was getting closer and closer to his dream. Mr. Fang, congratulations, congratulations. Ma Teng shared this data with Fang Jueyu, who was probably the biggest winner in this game. What's there to congratulate about? Fang Jueyu's voice remained calm and unflustered. I was just thinking about playing games and spending money at the time. I wasn't looking to make money. A month passed, and Tencent's total market value soared, directly surpassing the $800 billion mark. In the face of such a fierce momentum, other internet companies almost had no way to resist. Soon, Tencent developed several different games in succession. Of course, these were relatively small-scale online games. However, insiders revealed that Tencent was devoting itself to creating a massive role-playing game. This game would have various exquisite maps, a comprehensive system, and could even allow players to experience the fun of a second world. The market impact of this was unprecedented, and anyone who could afford the equipment would throw themselves into this game without reservation. With the stock prices skyrocketing, Ma Teng's personal assets experienced a surge, directly surpassing Jeff Bezos and landing him the first place on the Forbes ranking. Aside from other assets, just the value of his Tencent shares alone exceeded more than twice Jeff Bezos' personal wealth. Although Fang Jueyu owned more shares than Ma Teng, it's worth noting that Fang Jueyu shelled out a significant amount of money when acquiring Tencent shares. Official estimates suggested Fang Jueyu's assets might be slightly inferior to Ma Teng, so he temporarily ranked second. Is Mr. Ma the richest man? I'm the first to disagree on behalf of my husband. What the hell, is there a mistake? Who's evaluating this? Was your math taught by a language teacher? What kind of idiot thinks Dean Fang's assets are only the Tencent shares? Stand up and take a beating. The comments under this news were almost all showing dissatisfaction for Fang Jueyu, but there was nothing they could do. Except for a small portion, they had no idea how much wealth and enterprise Fang Jueyu really had, let alone assess it. While the evaluators were flustered by the public pressure, Ma Teng was the first to speak up. I think there are some errors in the Forbes ranking. I believe being ranked second would be more appropriate for me. As soon as these words came out, they caused a huge sensation. Ma Teng was openly admitting that his assets couldn't compare to Fang Jueyu's. Forbes magazine editors were discussing whether to revise the rankings, and several more messages suddenly appeared online. According to insiders, Fang Jueyu appeared at the Lianhua Group headquarters a few months ago, and the chairman, who owned 71% of the group's shares, claimed all his shares were merely in trust for him. Mr. Hilton from the Hilton Group stated that Mr. Fang is also among the shareholders of the Hilton Group, though his specific holding cannot be disclosed. Mr. Fang Jueyu was present at the Queen of England's birthday banquet and rode in the same car with the Queen. Mr. Fang Jueyu is one of the legal agents for Huaxia Thunder Technology, holding 70% of the shares. Mr. Fang Jueyu is also a shareholder in the Haley Group, holding 28.7% of the shares. Wang Kong, I know this dog thief is definitely the richest man in the world, but I won't say it. Gradually, Fang Jueyu's various assets were exposed one by one, cumulatively even exceeding his holdings in Tencent. Heavens, how much more is Dean Fang's? Dear Lord, I'm going crazy, Dean. Do your companies need more management? Damn it, these people are making a fuss. Fang Jueyu couldn't sit still at home. Some messages and calls from former classmates were about to blow up his phone. He just wanted to lay low and be a good-for-nothing who only eats, drinks, and plays. Why was it so difficult? He spent so much money to buy Tencent shares just to quickly spend a large sum to complete a task. But who knew that not long after, the money spent all came back, and even more? Was this the power of technology? Discovering their mistake, the Forbes magazine promptly reordered the rankings. Fang Jueyu rose to the top with an estimated asset of over $500 billion. Only $500 billion, not even a tenth of this dog's assets. Wang Kong, who knew Fang Jueyu's strength the best, commented on his microblog to add to the spectacle. If you talk nonsense again, I'll buy your dad's Patek Philippe, Fang Jueyu threatened at once in the comments. Go ahead and buy it. If you do, your assets will be exposed again, Wang Kong teased, fearing the world was not chaotic enough. Damn it, I can't keep this hidden anymore. Fang Jueyu dropped his mouse. He also wanted to be low-key, but his ability didn't allow it. He had no idea how his father and grandfather managed to keep it a secret. Fang Jueyu drew the curtains. He didn't know who had revealed his address, but a large number of reporters were gathered at the entrance of Jiangnan Bai Yuan. He figured that as soon as he went out, he'd be instantly surrounded by frenzied reporters. Huaxia had produced a world's richest man. This was no small event and was sure to stay on the trending topics list for weeks. Even people around him would be harassed to death by reporters. Fortunately, Fang Jueyu had a super god academy. Although he couldn't yet change his physique and appearance at will like Gogh, his disguise technique was quite exceptional, allowing him to come and go freely under the reporters' noses. As for Ma Teng, he was in a dire situation, attending one press conference after another. He had no idea how Fang Jueyu managed to evade the reporters' watchful eyes. Surely he couldn't stay indoors all the time without going out. As the new year approached, Fang Jueyu found some downtime. His family wasn't on this planet, so celebrating the new year didn't make much difference to him. This year, he probably would spend the holiday with Gogh Xinyu at her family's place. Fang Jueyu's birthday was on December 26, just a few days before the new year. In past years, there was always a holiday by this time. Friends would be busy going home for the holidays, preparing diligently for the new year, so everything was simple. But on his birthday this year, he received an unusual letter. He found it odd. With communications so advanced in this age, why would someone still use this kind of letter? Sister Xiao Ying, where did this letter come from? Fang Jueyu asked casually. Oh, it was dropped in the mailbox outside this morning. I found it quite strange too. Maybe it's from one of your friends with a peculiar hobby, young master. Fang Jueyu had heard of people who enjoyed using such a method to write letters to friends while traveling, but he didn't think he had such friends either. He opened the letter. The content wasn't printed by a computer, nor was it written with a common pen. It seemed to have been penned with a brush, the characters vigorous and powerful, clearly showing years of skill. To Mr. Fang Jueyu, the richest man in the world. Congratulations on becoming the richest man in the world. On behalf of the Ancient Martial Arts Association, I express our gratitude to Mr. Fang. To ensure the normal operation of Mr. Fang's industries without disturbances, the Ancient Martial Arts Association will charge 30% of your annual income as a management fee. 3 days later, the Gyukeng Sword Sect will come to collect this fee on behalf of the Ancient Martial Arts Association. Please be informed. Sect leader Guru Feng of the Gyukeng Sword Sect. Damn, what is this all about? Fang Jueyu was dumbfounded after reading the letter. Did this mean they were asking for a protection fee? Was such a thing even possible? Fang Jueyu did not know much about the ancient martial world, and Gu Yi and the others seldom had contact with those ancient martial sects and ancient martial families, with the White family being the only exception. Bai Ruha had already recovered after taking the pills refined by Fang Jueyu and was now back at his Jiangnan villa. Bai Yu's martial arts progress was rapid, and in the entire Bai family, besides her father Bai Zun, she had no rivals. Bai Yu took a vow that nothing from the school should be revealed to outsiders, so the Bai family credited her growth entirely to Fang Jueyu's guidance. Now, the entire Bai family almost worshipped Fang Jueyu as a deity. The Bai family told Fang Jueyu that the things he encountered were not unusual. It was an unwritten rule among the ancient martial sects. Like the ancient martial families, the ancient martial sects also needed to grow and strengthen. Their buildings and the daily training of disciples were resource-intensive, which meant their annual expenditure was astronomical. The ancient martial families and sects generally operated numerous businesses in the secular world, spanning various industries, with personnel usually being disciples or core members of these families and sects. One party provided protection and backing, while the other provided funds, creating a mutually beneficial collaboration. But this still did not entirely meet their daily needs. These resources merely allowed them to maintain their existence. Seeking further prosperity required more funds, and this was one of their methods. In Huaxia, almost every entrepreneur with some fame had the shadow of an ancient martial family or sect backing them. These families and sects often wielded great power. Even if they remained hidden, they still had significant influence in the secular world, to the point that they could manipulate the rise and fall of businesses at will. Hence, the practice of collecting protection fees emerged. Of course, some tough entrepreneurs did resist, but soon after, they faced various troubles. Some who were too resolute even faced threats, ensuring no one ever rebelled again. These ancient martial sects and families formed a mutual association called the Ancient Martial Association, which wielded even greater power. In the ancient martial sects, strong individuals emerged endlessly. Mr. Fang, if the Martial Artists Association really sent you this letter, it's best to do as they say, Bai Ruhai advised. Oh, what kind of trouble could I face if I don't comply? Fang Jueyu asked with interest. When they send a letter, it's merely to inform you. If they visit for the first time and don't receive a management fee, you will receive a severe warning. This warning might involve damaging some of your property, like a car. But if the second visit still doesn't yield a management fee, then you might be the one who gets hurt. So unreasonable, Fang Jueyu frowned. Whoever it was, the money was hard-earned. How was this different from robbery? Mr. Fang, though you may be a master of secret strength, never underestimate any ancient martial sect. What do you mean? To establish an ancient martial sect, you must have deep foundations and meet a stringent condition. The sect must have at least one innate martial artist. Innate martial artist? Fang Jueyu's expression changed slightly. Such elite masters surpassed SSS-level superpower users, nearing the level of a hidden elementer. Fang Jueyu had never encountered anyone like this outside of his family's sphere of influence. That's right, the power of an innate martial artist is far beyond the imagination of ordinary people. If they were to intervene personally, the situation would likely not end well, so I advise Mr. Fang to comply with their demands. Actually, giving up 30% of personal income isn't much. I understand. Thank you for telling me all this. Fang Jueyu hung up Bai Ruhai's call, a faint smile playing at his lips. Even my protection fee is up for grabs. He called Ma Teng, who informed him that his Tangsun had been paying that so-called management fee since it was officially listed. Initially, Ma Teng had brushed off those people as lunatics. As a wealthy man who wouldn't have some skilled bodyguards, he thought they were merely small gangs of hooligans. Could they truly overturn anything? But Ma Teng hadn't anticipated that they were not normal people at all, but monsters. The first time the fee collectors came, they were 3 young men in their 20s, dressed in traditional garb and speaking in an atypical manner. Yet once they acted, they seriously injured his 2 bodyguards. His bodyguards were each capable of taking on a dozen trained individuals, but they were almost defeated within moments. Ma Teng had reported it to the police, but he was told that nothing could be done. Helpless, he asked several friends, and after much inquiry, finally understood the situation, leading him to comply and pay a hefty management fee annually. Mr. Fang, whatever you do, don't try to resist them. They are simply not ordinary people, Ma Teng repeatedly cautioned. Fang Jueyu vaguely promised that trying to make him pay protection fees was a dream. It would be more likely for him to collect protection fees from these sects. Fang Jueyu casually crumpled the letter into a ball and tossed it into the trash without taking the so-called Ancient Martial Association or Gyuking Sword sect seriously. Beep, Fang Jueyu's phone buzzed. Looks like this guy's free these days. The message was from Wang Kong. Old Fang, got some time. I'll take you to a newly opened restaurant, guaranteed to serve the best food you've ever tasted. Really? Fang Jueyu was skeptical. His chef team was world-class and Wang Kong knew this well. To still make such bold claims, could the restaurant's chef be even better? Of course it's true, and if it's not better than your food, I'll chop off little bro and serve it to you, Wang Kong swore. Come on, you'd better save little bro for the ladies. I've got no use for it, Fang Jueyu replied with disdain. Name the time and place. No need, I've already booked the chef for tomorrow. I'll pick you up tomorrow afternoon, and we'll head there together. All right, see you tomorrow. At the appointed time, Wang Kong was already waiting for Fang Jueyu at the entrance of Jiangnan City Villas. Those reporters were truly relentless. They hadn't shown any intention of leaving for days. After a while, a young man dressed in a trench coat and wearing sunglasses walked out of the complex. He took off his sunglasses, glancing at the group of reporters with a scrutinizing look. The reporters examined the young man carefully, confirming he wasn't Fang Jueyu, and then naturally made way for him. After the young man walked out of Jiangnan City Villas, he headed straight for an Aston Martin parked by the roadside. Who are you? Wang Kong was still staring at the complex's entrance, pondering how on earth Fang Jueyu planned to slip through the layers of reporters' encirclement, when the sudden sound of the car door closing interrupted his thoughts. It's me. The young man explored his face for a moment, removed pieces of flesh-colored solid from it, and restored his handsome face to that of Fang Jueyu. Gotta keep up with the times, huh? This ancient disguise technique combined with modern cosmetics is simply unbeatable, Fang Jueyu sneered at the reporters. They still want to block me, maybe in their next life. Old Fang, you're impressive. If Fang Jueyu hadn't removed his disguise himself, apart from the voice, Wang Kong wouldn't have recognized him at all. Haha, just a minor trick. Let's go. Don't say I don't treat you right. Today, the world's richest man is dining with you. If it were Bill Gates, you'd have to give away all your wealth to have such an honor. Fang Jueyu joked. Don't worry, I promise you won't be disappointed today. Wang Kong was full of confidence. The chef at this place was definitely a cut above Fang Jueyu's personal chefs. This restaurant didn't seem to be located in the bustling area of Jiangnan City, but rather in a rather secluded alley. Wang Kong's Aston Martin stopped in front of a building that resembled an ancient inn. Fang Jueyu took a glance. The clothes on people moving in and out from here were quite simple from their styles, even so plain as to seem a bit retro. Yet, upon closer inspection, it wasn't hard to see these plain clothes didn't belong to any brand, appearing closer to being hand-sewn. Hee, this restaurant is no ordinary place, Wang Kong smiled mysteriously. Don't judge these people by their humble appearances. Each one of them is quite influential. Randomly call out one, and they could be a high-ranking official or a retired business owner. Really that impressive? Fang Jueyu was a bit surprised. Judging by this, the restaurant's owner also appeared to have significant connections or incredibly exceptional skills. This restaurant is called Lingxian Inn. All their dishes are prepared using ancient methods, and the flavors will definitely exceed your expectations. The prices aren't cheap, I suppose, Fang Jueyu laughed. Certainly, the owner of this restaurant is quite interesting. When those officials come to dine, the prices are almost as cheap as a regular cafeteria. But when others come here, the prices multiply by hundreds or thousands. Even the simplest stir-fried greens cost thousands here, Wang Kong said. But hey, with you being the world's wealthiest dining here, such amounts aren't even worth a mention, right? Ha ha ha. Well, I really want to see if the food here is worth the price, Fang Jueyu laughed. Fang Jueyu followed Wang Kong into this so-called Spirit Immortal Inn. As they had an appointment, a server promptly led them into an elegant room. The food was pre-ordered, and they had just sat for less than 10 minutes when dish after dish was served. Besides the server, there was also someone dressed as a chef. Even a practitioner. Fang Jueyu felt some biological current fluctuation from the young chef. He seemed to be a master of hidden strength. This Spirit Immortal Inn is intriguing. Fang Jueyu smiled subtly. Hello to both gentlemen, I'm your chef for today, Zhou Bin. The dishes I make incorporate special techniques to provide you with an extraordinary experience. The chef named Zhou Bin introduced himself. Zhou Bin's inner strength didn't come from any ancient martial sect, rather it was due to some personal adventures. But he didn't enjoy conflict. The only thing he was interested in was cooking. Once he found that cooking could be integrated with his inner strength, which made the dishes even more flavorful. Thus, he opened a restaurant called Spirit Immortal Inn. All the chefs in this restaurant were trained by him. Because of Fang Jueyu, a special guest today, Zhou Bin specially prepared this meal. Wang Kong had only been here to dine once, and it was Zhou Bin who cooked. Little did he expect that Fang Jueyu's presence would be so influential as to draw the owner, Zhou Bin, who rarely cooked for guests personally, into action. Presumably, this owner's skills should be even more commendable than the other chefs, right? Zhou Bin began introducing each dish. Although these dishes didn't seem extraordinary presentation-wise, their aroma was indeed entrancing. The last dish, braised bass, was Zhou Bin's specialty. Wang Kong tasted it, and the tasty fish and rich broth had him full of praise. Fang Jueyu's appetite also increased. He picked up a piece of fish and put it in his mouth. The taste was indeed excellent. Frankly speaking, it was even better than his own chefs at home. If it had been a few months ago, he surely would have given it a very high rating. But since he had learned a few culinary skills from the Chinese little chef, although this braised bass was impeccable in texture, it still lacked something. Mr. Fang, how is it? Zhou Bin asked, full of anticipation. It's all right, but it seems to lack a bit of charm. Fang Jueyu gave a very candid review. The ingredients you used are very fresh, and the timing is spot on, but it lacks heart. This dish, though subtly textured, hasn't reached perfection. It's even somewhat of a failure. Zhou Bin's expression changed instantly. Since he started using this method to cook, even the pickiest diners had high praises for his skills. He considered his culinary skills flawless, but in Fang Jueyu's words, how did it become a failure? Was it just because Fang Jueyu was the world's richest? Therefore his taste was more refined and thus more critical. Has Mr. Fang eaten dishes better than mine? Zhou Bin asked, suppressing the fire in his heart. Then may I know where Mr. Fang had such dishes? Could you enlighten me? Do you want to try? Fang Jueyu stood up to the kitchen then. Zhou Bin was taken aback. You're planning to cook yourself? Fang Jueyu nodded slightly. Exactly. Once you've tasted my cooking, Mr. Zhou will understand the difference between cooking with heart and without. Old Fang, you can cook. Wang Kong had known Fang Jueyu for almost half a year, but he had never seen him cook. If what he made wasn't some dark culinary disaster, one would already be thanking their lucky stars, let alone compare it with a chef like Zhou Bin. I know a lot of things, Fang Jueyu said. Massage therapy, blood circulation, bone setting, unlocking, fortune-telling, watch repair, screen protection, you name it. I'm an expert at it all, you know nothing. All right, then let me see your skills. Wang Kong was amused by Fang Jueyu's words. Boss Zhou, you don't mind if we use your kitchen, do you? Of course I don't mind. I was just wondering if Mr. Fang's culinary skills are really as impressive as he claims. Zhou Bin glanced at Fang Jueyu's hands. They were free of calluses, clearly not the hands of someone who frequently wielded a knife and pan. Even if he could cook, his skills were presumably not high. Besides, as a billionaire, Fang Jueyu must have his own private chef. People like him personally cooking sounded like a fairy tale. He simply didn't believe Fang Jueyu could make dishes more delicious than his own. The kitchen at Lingxian Inn was extremely well organized and clean. It was currently the busiest time for the restaurant, and all the chefs were occupied. From their vegetable cutting techniques, Fang Jueyu observed something unusual. Their knife skills weren't as chaotic and random as ordinary chefs. Instead, they followed a certain method. Zhou Bin's cooking area wasn't with the other chefs. He had his own private kitchen, as the knives, pots, and spatulas he used for cooking were custom-made. Mr. Fang, you don't mind if I watch from the sidelines, do you? Zhou Bin asked. Of course, Boss Zhou, if you're interested, you're welcome to watch. Fang Jueyu scanned the kitchen. All the tools were complete. Zhou Bin was indeed a consummate professional chef. How about this? I'll also make a dish of braised bass. Fang Jueyu looked at Zhou Bin. Be my guest, Zhou Bin gestured invitingly. He was curious to see how Fang Jueyu would indeed cook with heart. In fact, Fang Jueyu didn't intend to cause trouble for Zhou Bin, nor did he want to be a contrarian. Rather, he saw something extraordinary in this young man and had thoughts of recruiting him into the Super God Academy. Therefore, he naturally needed to show off some skills to win him over. Watch closely. Fang Jueyu extended his hand toward the fish in the tank. Absorption palm. A strong biological current surged from Fang Jueyu's palm, and the bass swimming in the tank seemed to be bound by an invisible force, getting sucked right into his hand. He's not an ordinary person either, Zhou Bin's expression changed. Although he could perform that trick himself, it would never be as effortless as Fang Jueyu's. Forbes, #1, was actually a top-tier martial artist. He repeated the trick on a knife across the kitchen without moving, effortlessly pulling it into his hand. He gently tossed the bass into the air, lonely 9 swords. An ordinary kitchen knife in Fang Jueyu's hand transformed into an indomitable divine weapon. One by one, the bass's scales were flawlessly stripped without damaging the fish meat. What the hell? Is he really using the lonely 9 swords to scale a fish? Wang Kong, although a regular person, realized Fang Jueyu wasn't randomly slashing. Zhou Bin was the most shocked. Fang Jueyu's swordsmanship was astoundingly precise. Not to mention, his sharp insight wasn't something an average martial artist could rival. Smack! The bass landed on the cutting board, scales completely peeled, all in a matter of seconds. The bass was still lively and vibrant. Onions, ginger, garlic, and various seasonings turned into even fragments under Fang Jueyu's knife work. An observer might think he was performing some sort of juggling trick. Though Fang Jueyu's knife skills were flashy, his approach was the usual method for making braised fish. When the reddish-brown sauce boiled in the pot, a rich aroma filled the entire kitchen. Fang Jueyu picked up the bass and, moments before placing it in the pot, sent a burst of biological current into the fish meat. The firm, springy meat instantly became tender without losing its texture. Then came the process of flavoring the braise. With the help of inner strength, the sauce fully fused with the succulent fish. the tempting color making Wang Kong swallow involuntarily. At last, under the eager eyes of the two, the bass was ready. Wang Kong couldn't wait to pick up his chopsticks and stuff the fish into his mouth with lightning speed. "Why the rush, you glutton?" Fang Jueyu teasingly scolded. The moment the fish entered his mouth, Wang Kong's expression changed instantly, as if a fresh ocean breeze washed over him. This essence bore no fishiness, only a refreshing and elegant aroma. The sensation was indescribable. His hands involuntarily clenched to his chest, like a teenager in the throes of adolescent fantasy. Is it really that miraculous? Seeing Wang Kong's reaction, Zhou Bin became curious and tasted the fish himself. At that moment, he displayed almost the same expression as Wang Kong, as if this dish contained some magical power affecting his vision, taste, and hearing. Zhou Bin's mentor had told him that conquering human taste buds was just the beginning for a culinary master. To alter one's vision or other senses was a chef's dream come true. Now, it seemed he'd found someone who could lead him to the pinnacle of culinary art. "How is it? Did you feel the charm?" Fang Jueyu asked Zhou Bin with a smile. What he referred to as cooking with heart was merely a broad term. A true chef could infuse their intention into the dish. Simply put, it was a formidable spiritual power capable of impacting others. Of course, reaching such a culinary level required wholehearted dedication to each step and profound cultivation. Thus, the world had but a few true culinary masters. Zhou Bin's eyes were filled with admiration and fervor when he looked at Fang Jueyu. "Want to learn?" Fang Jueyu chuckled. "Yes," Zhou Bin nodded without hesitation. Even though Fang Jueyu was younger in this world, the skilled were always the teachers. "I'll teach you then." Fang Jueyu recognized the look in Zhou Bin's eyes. There would be another new student at the Super God Academy.